Joining us again on the Sunrise Morning Show is Richard Ghazal, Executive Director of In Defense of Christians. Good morning, Rich.
Good morning, Annie. How are you?
I am doing fine, thank you. And I'm excited to talk to you to hear about the International Religious Freedom Summit, which is now in the books, took place from July 13th to the 15th. Just to start us off, Rich, what would you say were the highlights?
Well, absolutely, Annie. The International Religious Freedom Summit that took place last week, it was an international conference of civil society organizations representing all religions, advocacy organizations, and the like, to highlight the cause of international religious freedom throughout the world. It was co-hosted by Dr. Katrina Lantos Sweat and Ambassador Sam Brownback, who is the former Ambassador at Large for International Religious Freedom. Now, some of your listeners may be familiar with the State Department's annual ministerial that began about 3 years ago. Well, last week's IRF summit is something different because it focuses on the voices of civil society rather than government, foreign governments and the like. But it's important to note that the IRF summit is not meant to replace the annual ministerial, but rather supplement it. So some of the headliners that were speaking during the summit included former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, USAID Administrator Samantha Power, Cardinal Dolan, as well as Cardinal Rai of Lebanon, and even the Dalai Lama provided a message to those in attendance. So it really was an event meant to bring people together under the banner of religious freedom, and that's exactly what it did.
That's awesome. And I know that IDC did a few things, some events that took place during the summit. First of all, tell us about the Ecumenical prayer service that you sponsored.
Yeah, absolutely. We held it on Wednesday. That was the second day of the summit. It was held at St. Sophia Greek Orthodox Cathedral right here in Washington, D.C. We were blessed to have over 15 celebrants lead us in worship in Christian fellowship. So we had celebrants representing the Catholic Church, Orthodox, as well as evangelical traditions. So we also had 4 choirs and also solo vocalists in attendance representing the various sacred chant traditions. In fact, it was so successful that the church service actually drew double the expected amount of attendance. But what was really particularly special, Annie, I would say, is the fact that the service fell on the 1-year anniversary of the conversion of the historic Hagia Sophia into a mosque. So the Ecumenical prayer service just so happened to take place at the Hagia Sophia right here in Washington, D.C., St. Sophia's Cathedral. So it was a very important anniversary. So in addition to celebrating the Ecumenical Christian Fellowship that we were there to acknowledge and celebrate, the service was also a solemn commemoration of the tragic event in history. And following the service, of course, we had a very nice dinner reception, which featured remarks from some government officials in attendance, as well as the summit co-chairs, Dr. Lantos Sweet and Ambassador Brownback. So it really was a very nice evening for all, and again, Christian fellowship, but also solemn commemoration.
And really poignant and powerful, I'm sure, to be there praying for religious freedom on that anniversary.
Absolutely, yeah. It was very special because, like I said, not only was it Catholics, Orthodox, and evangelical Christians, but people of all faith there in solidarity, even at the Christian prayer service. So again, it was really highlighting the plight of Christians in the Middle East, but also our fellowship moving forward in the spirit.
Well, tell us also about a panel discussion that you sponsored of experts during the summit. What were the key takeaways from that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the title of the panel was Allies, Antagonists, and Arms Sales. So as the title suggests, we gave critical attention to the military assistance that the United States provides to nations with not-so-great records on religious freedom. That was Thursday afternoon. That was the last day of the summit. And we drew a very nice crowd in attendance. Our expert panelists included Sam Tadros from the Hudson Institute, Andy Zemenides, which has been on your show before. You're probably familiar with him. He's representing the Greek, the Hellenic American Leadership Council. Aram Hamparian, which represents the Armenian National Council of America, and of course I represented In Defense of Christians. And the panel was moderated by our friend Robert Nicholson from the Fearless Project. The discussion mainly focused on Egypt, the Gulf states, Turkey, and Lebanon. And the bottom line really was the U.S. should leverage military assistance as an instrument of power to influence international religious freedom, and also act quickly to preserve Lebanon as the last free bastion of Christianity in the Middle East. which can be done through humanitarian as well as military assistance to the Lebanese armed forces.
Rich, what do you hope? Well, first of all, actually, before I get to your hope, can you just tell me what was the reaction of participants to everything that was happening at this summit, particularly that panel?
Well, we really got great feedback from everyone in attendance, both at the prayer service as well as the panel. The panel, it wasn't a huge surprise that we were calling out particular countries, of course, because that's just what we do every day. But the fact that we were able to draw together such a great group of experts to discuss the issue in a very objective way, with clear-throated positions on what we need to do to address these so-called allies, because many of them are allies. Egypt and the like are certainly allies in many ways, are doing good things in their countries to reform. But the fact that we're able to call them out and tie U.S. policy to leverage their behavior on international religious freedom was very well received.
Now, finally, Rich, just quickly, what do you hope will be some of the lasting effects of this summit?
Well, certainly, as I said, this is the first of its kind. In the past, we've done ministerial, which is government-sponsored type summit of this kind, but this is the first time we're doing one led and directed for and by civil society organizations. So looking forward, we hope to involve more people to become interested in this very important issue, not just in government, but also from the grassroots, because really that's where it starts. It starts grassroots on up.
Absolutely, which is why we so appreciate the work of In Defense of Christians. You can find them linked at sunrisemorningshow.com. Richard Ghazal, thank you so much.